Today, I am super excited. I have a very special guest with me today. He is Nico Calanchini. He is the general manager of Blues Baseball. Go Blues. And he has a very inspiring journey. Now, as a Morro Bay native, Nico grew up attending Blues games and he fell in love with the community and atmosphere that surrounded the organization. Now, Nico began rising through the ranks with the Blues since 2019 by starting as an intern on the promotional team before taking the position of beer manager and director of hospitality in 2021. Spent several seasons over at Camelback Ranch, where he was a ticket operations account executive for the Dodgers and the White Sox. And he's back home here in SLO as the general manager of the San Luis Obispo Blues. So Nico, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here today, because you are the SESLOC Young Change Maker of the Central Coast Award recipient of the month. And big ups to our friends over at SESLOC Credit Union for teaming up with us. Now, Nico, you grew up in Morro Bay. When did you start attending Blues baseball games?
My first Blues game was the summer of 2008. I was 8 years old.
Okay, so right away, growing up, because I know you're a big baseball head, who's your favorite baseball player?
Between Tim Lincecum and Buster Posey, I'd say getting into baseball, Tim Lincecum was the guy for me. But with the longevity of Buster Posey, I think I'd have to give him the number one slot.
So I know it's one thing to be a fan of baseball, but another thing is to actually work in the sports industry. What inspired you to decide to tackle on a career in the sports industry?
I'd say early on in high school, I decided that I wanted to have a career in sports and didn't really know exactly where I wanted to go, but it evolved throughout college and even my first few years looking for jobs. Didn't know entirely what I wanted to do, and I've really settled on management.
I know I briefly touched on this in the intro, but what other sports organizations have you worked for?
While I was going to school, I spent 2 spring trainings at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, where I was working ticket operations with the Dodgers and White Sox. And then I've worked on the agency side a little bit as well.
So let's backtrack a little bit. You began interning for the Blues in 2019.
Yeah, sneaks up on you pretty quick.
How has your relationship with the Blues evolved over the past few years, from intern to general manager?
Wow, that's a good question. Looking back on it, the interns have so much fun throughout the summer that it's definitely not the place that I'm in now, but I can always keep myself grounded by seeing the experience they're having and how I had such a similar one 6 years ago.
So you graduated with a bachelor's in sports business from Arizona State, big ups. What lessons from that time have you applied to your role here with Blues baseball?
Be a sponge and be flexible. Going into college, you think you have your plan set and that's where you're going to end up, and it's a windy road. So things are going to change, but you just got to roll with the punches and you'll land on your feet.
So one of the things that I love about the Blues is that they support a lot of nonprofits in the community. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
We partner with a local nonprofit for every home game. And with that, we donate 100 tickets to their organization, of which they can do whatever they'd like, whether it's raffle them off, sell them for a fundraiser. They can also set up outside of our gates and advertise to fans coming into the stadium. So we like doing that because it lets us share a mission with the nonprofit so they can raise awareness for their organization while also bringing fans out to ours. And if we create a lifelong fan, then they'll go on to support other nonprofits that are at our games.
So now looking towards the future, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I'd love to keep doing what I'm doing. You never really know how that goes, but just got to take it one day at a time, 1 year at a time. Fortunately for me, I have 2 more seasons after this with the Blues, and from there, we'll just see where life takes me.
That being said, any advice for the younger generation that may be unsure of which career or school pathway to take?
Try everything once. It's more important in my eyes to find something that you don't like more so than find what you like right off the bat. You have to be willing to experience those low moments in order to experience the highs.
And finally, Nico, how does it feel to be selected as SESLOC's Young Change Makers of the Central Coast Award recipient?
It's truly an honor. Growing up on the Central Coast, going to elementary school in San Luis Obispo, I've seen the community that raised me, and being able to give back to that and continue the tradition of being Central Coast residents, caring for one another, supporting each other. There's truly nothing more fulfilling that I could see getting out of a career.
He is Nico Calanchini, the general manager of Blues Baseball. And I want to thank you so much, Nico, for taking the time and telling us about your inspiring journey.
I'd just like to thank Wild 106, Dimes Media, and SESLOC for the opportunity.
Nico Calanchini, the general manager of Blues Baseball, is your SESLOC Young Change Maker of the Central Coast Award recipient of the month. And we are looking for the next young person to highlight. So if you know somebody under 40 who is doing incredible things, maybe they went from intern to general manager of their company, maybe they're at the board of directors of their company, or maybe they're working with other organizations to help their friends and neighbors in need. So if you know of somebody who deserves to be the next SESLOC Young Changemakers of the Central Coast Award recipient, go to the website right now, wildweather61.com, and go to the top of the page. You will find the SESLOC Young Changemakers of the Central Coast Award recipient link. Fill out the form, and it's that easy.